Hello everyone and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our August 22nd, 2022 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics including what happened to Jordan Elsass, why is he leaving Superman and Lois. We're going to be talking about Jesse Eisenberg's reactions to Lex Luthor criticisms. We're going to be talking about comic book solicitations, stuff happening with DC League of Super Pets, and so much more. We're also going to be turning to you to ask for your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss, and to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show. Let me introduce you to my co-host, very tired, Mr. Michael Bailey.
Yes.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, a little bit. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Doing well.
Yeah. No, I'm just running and gunning, and I got Dragon Con next week, and it's going to be fun. But you all don't want to hear about that. Well, maybe you want to hear part of that, but for right now, you want to hear about how you can get involved in Superman Homepage Live, because, as it suggests, it's a live show. We want to hear from the people that are watching us right now. And it's really easy to do that. All you do is go to supermanhomepage.com/live and press the Call Now button. And then you'll be in the green room, and we'll know you're there, and we can bring you in at the appropriate moment. Also, if you do not feel like going to supermanhomepage.com/live, you can take out your little fancy smartphone device and you can scan that QR code and go right to the page.
Exactly, that's right. It will get taken there. And if you're a little bit shy and don't want to get onto the show tonight as a caller, then feel free to participate as part of the comments. Right now, people like Rom, Mind the Gap, Mark Lax, Harris, Kenneth, and others are joining in right now live on the show in the comments, talking to each other, talking to us. Of course, Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments, and we will react to your comments and questions as the show goes live right now. And so feel free to post there. And if you'd like your comment or question featured live on the screen, that's called a super chat. All you do is click the dollar symbol right there on YouTube. A slider will appear on your screen. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate. We will feature your comment or question live on the screen. There's also super thanks and super stickers if you want to give those a try. And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And if you'd like to support the show, simply click the join button there on YouTube. There are different levels of perks. But let's get into tonight's topics. Mike, we'll start with the movie stuff. I know we want to talk about Jordan Elsass in a second. But on the movie side of things, I was interested to see that DC League of Super Pets is already about to be released digitally tomorrow, August 23rd. August 23rd. It hasn't even been released in the theaters here in Australia, but it'll be digital, and I can imagine everyone will be, well, not everyone, but a lot of people won't even bother waiting for the theater if they can somehow manage to download it digitally, legally, of course, through the States and other locations.
All above board and legal.
Of course.
Exactly. No, that's cool. These things tend to pop up digitally faster than anything else.
Hasn't been a month. So, July 29th it was released to the theaters, and it's now August 23rd. It's already going to be released digitally.
I'm curious because it was supposed to come out earlier, if I'm remembering correctly, and that
back in May.
This digital release was something that was going to happen regardless of when it came out. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And as far as the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray and Blu-ray combo pack and DVD are concerned, they'll be available or be released October 4th. But you can pre-order them now through our website via Amazon. So head to supermanhomepage.com and you'll be able to purchase the Blu-ray, DVD or 4K release when they are out October 4th, but you can pre-order it now. High-definition versions of DC League of Super Pets will include bonus features such as how to draw crypto, behind the super voices, which is also on the DVD, Super Pets Animation 101, find the Easter eggs, the world of Super Pets, and deleted scenes.
Yeah, that sounds like their special features aren't as good as they used to be. I remember back in the early 2000s, of course, in the early 2000s, they considered widescreen a special feature, and I never really quite understood that. But no, I'm glad that at least they're coming with something extra. nowadays. I mean, I guess it's easier to do digitally.
Yeah, for sure. And they released a little bit of a promo for the digital release with a special little animation by Crypto and Ace. Check it out. Here is the DC League of Super Pets little promo about the upcoming digital release, if I can find it, which I will grab for you right. Where is it? Here we go.
Another fun morning watching our movie.
Best movie around if I do say so.
I mean, you have a lead like me. How can it go wrong?
Uh-huh.
The heroic poses I pull off in this movie will inspire other pets for generations to come.
Generations?
I mean years.
I'm going to go drink another bidet.
Well, wait, what should we do now? There's no crimes in progress to stop. Well, now the movie's on digital, so should we watch it again? Hey, Soups!
Yeah, come on, Clark.
Hey, come on, play it again.
Play it again, come on, yeah.
Come on, again.
Yeah, hit play.
I wish I could speak dog. I guess I'll put the movie on again for you.
Uh-oh.
What now?
Pause the movie, I gotta go. The fourth bidet is called.
There you have it. This little promo they released for the DC League of Super Pets. So yes, available digitally tomorrow if you're interested.
Yeah, awesome.
Very cool. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Jesse Eisenberg appeared this past week at the 28th Sarajevo Film Festival to screen his new movie, When You Finish Saving the World, in which he makes his directorial debut. But speaking during Q&A panel that took place afterwards, he spoke about the negative reactions to his Lex Luthor from Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, and says that he took those comments and criticisms very personally.
Yeah, I mean, when people keep saying that you suck, I can see how you would take it personally. I mean, it's just the thing. My feelings on the creative choices with Lex Luthor in that film aside, which are many and mostly negative, he's a human being.
Yeah.
Even Simon Pegg, of Star Trek and the Mission Impossible films and all that, he, back in the early 2000s, was very, very negative against the Star Wars movies, the prequels, and took a lot of real estate on his show Spaced to express that. And recently he was just like, we made fun of Jar Jar Binks, but there was an actor behind that. And I think you could say I don't like something without insulting the guy personally.
Yeah.
It's just it's a weird thing because you don't want to not express your opinion because you're afraid of hurting somebody's feelings, but on the other hand, don't go after the actor personally. Just say, man, I didn't like that portrayal of the character. And that's the thing these days with social media. We even do it ourselves. We tag in the people that we're, referencing in our tweets and our Instagram posts and what have you. And they're not necessarily always going to be happy about the things that you're, referencing. Like with Jordan Elsass, we linked him in. First I did a hashtag, and then I linked him into the tweet. And I thought, maybe he doesn't want to see all these recurring posts about him leaving. He knows he's leaving, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Jesse Eisenberg says that he took it very personal. He says Chris Terrio, the writer, is a very serious writer, and he's a very emotional person. He thought a lot about my character, and I thought a lot about my character too. I talked with my acting coach about the character a lot, about his backstory with his father and his emotional life, and then people hate me. But then he does go on to say, listen, I'm not a comic book fan. To me, it was not playing a role that I'd envisioned since childhood. To me, it was a chance to play this great character that this great writer wrote, and I loved doing that. And I guess that's probably where, if you were just doing if you just looked at his character separately, totally, completely, without any connection to comic book lore or any previous stories, you could go, geez, he played that really well. He was a kind of really devious, kind of erratic kind of person. But when you say that's Lex Luthor, you go, no, that's not how I necessarily see Lex Luthor being portrayed.
And while there can be and have been different takes on Lex Luthor over the years, a lot of people were like, oh, that's more like the prankster, or more like the Toyman, or more like another character, not necessarily what people envisioned as Lex Luthor. And I guess that's where the criticisms come from.
Yeah, and, it's something that the Snyder films tend to get hit with anyways. And to a certain extent, you could say I don't like it, you could say it didn't do anything for me, but what you can't say is that it doesn't fit into the world that it exists in. And that's where, of course, that's a nuanced argument, and nuance has no place on social media. Recently, I was on Facebook debating with a couple friends, John Schneider's Jonathan Kent versus Kevin Costner's Jonathan Kent. And, I was making points like, it's difficult to compare the two because John Schneider had 100 episodes to kind of, play his character, inhabit that character,
Flesh
talk
it
to the
out.
writers, etc., etc. And Kevin Costner had, 10, 15 minutes of screen time total? So it's not a fair comparison to make. However, what is fair is this what you see as that character? I saw the other day on Twitter, and I was kind of tickled by it. They're like, the only true representation of Lex Luthor on film was Lyle Talbot in the serial, Adam Man versus Superman. And I'm like, suddenly I'm that Thor meme. Is it though? But to that person and to their mind, that is what embodies Lex Luthor. So I thought, Facebook owner, who I'm not going to name names because, he might be litigious. I don't want to get meta here. That was a terrible joke, but I'm going to stand by it. That take where it was obvious to me after watching the film a couple times that he was suffering from some, I don't want to say mental illness, but there was something going on there. Probably PTSD from an abusive father.
Yep.
And just watching him make that speech, and they're interesting choices writing-wise, interesting choices acting-wise. I mean, him hitting Superman in the chest, Clark Kent in the chest, saying, "This is not a man I would want to pick a fight with." You see that after you see the film, and you're like, "Oh, that's kind of clever," but you could still say, "Meh, not me." Yeah. Not for me at all.
Yeah, and he does go on to say that he'd be shocked if he did wind up in another DC movie. He said, but it would be a pleasant shock. It remains to be seen whether or not anything ever happens again with any of those characters, with those actors in those roles. But we wait and see with interest. But it's interesting to see his comments there with all these years later, looking back at his role as Lex Luthor. All right, now on to the big story that dropped right after our previous show, the day after, or the evening after, or whatever it was, but the morning even. Jesse Eisenberg. I just said Jesse Eisenberg. Jordan Elsass, who plays Jonathan Kent on Superman and Lois for seasons 1 and 2, has alerted Warner Brothers Television that he is not returning for season 3, and they will be recasting the role of Jonathan Kent. What did you make of this?
I was shocked more than anything, because they were 2 to 3 weeks away from filming. That's and you have to kind of spend 2 weeks in quarantine before you, if they're still holding to those standards.
Yeah.
That's a really short amount of time to alert them. And my second. The second. Sorry, I got distracted by something. The second thought I had is, oh my God, I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Most people don't just drop out of a show willy-nilly. This isn't This isn't like my line of business where people not showing up for work is kind of not surprising.
Par for the course.
And will happen at least once a week. Someone will call in, or someone will just up and quit. But for a Hollywood production like this, for it to happen this fast and then decide to recast it so fast, which I guess you kind of have to. They're not going to kill Jonathan off screen, Yeah,
he's one of the major characters.
The third thought I had, and in watching some of the fallout from the whole thing, was how spoiled we are that we get casts staying together. There were 3 Batmen in the 90s. And these are major motion pictures. So to have the actor not come back, and there have been many times over the years on popular television shows where a lead part is recast. Bewitched is a classic example where there were 2 Darrens. And I think because we get used to seeing actors in a certain role, and the characters have a certain chemistry together, and that chemistry is made by the writing and it's made by the actors working together, that just putting someone in new is a little scary. But frankly, this is kind of what they need to do, is just kind of move on. And my fourth was, I hope this kid's okay. Because my literally one of the first thoughts I had is I think he's probably having some kind of mental health issue. And
he's admitted as such. He's come out in different videos on social media. There was one I saw today, a 2-part video, where he does say that the last couple of years have been very hard for him, and he's struggled with his mental health, and that his personal mental health comes first before anything else. And and he might even decide not to continue acting at all. He's saying that he's thinking about, pursuing a whole different area of interest for himself. So, and if that's the case, if that's what he needs to do, then good luck to him. There's a lot of people out there who I saw a bit, snarky, saying, he's never going to get to, act again. Who gives up a great acting job? And people are desperate for acting jobs, and fair enough. There are a lot of actors out there who would love and kill to be able to get a job like what he's had in this series. But if he's struggling, if he has health issues, be them physical or mental health, whatever it might be, that's always got to come first. You can't continue on in a role, in a job, in any job. Doesn't matter if it's in the public eye or not, if your health is suffering.
And that's a rough business.
It is.
I mean, if you're a lead, and he is ostensibly a lead in that show, you're on set a lot.
Very demanding.
Years ago, there was William Shatner did a documentary where he interviewed the other captains from Star Trek, and he was talking to Scott Bakula, who was on Enterprise, and they both commiserated on how damaging being on the set as much as you are was to their marriages. Because you're on set sometimes 12, 14 hours a day, and you're cranking these shows out, and if you're the lead, you're there all the time. It's why everyone's like, why are there all these other superheroes on these shows? It's because they want to give the main actor a break.
Yeah, that's right.
Let other people kind of have some screen time, so maybe he gets a little, takes a nap or something.
And there were a lot of conspiracy theories about Jordan with his anti-vax stance, and look, even if he did have an issue being vaccinated for COVID or whatever, and they've gotten around it through whatever other means, with masks and all those other mandates that they have on set. The last 2 years would have been very difficult for someone in any capacity because of the fact that COVID has made a massive difference to the way filming and film sets and TV sets are operated now. And so, forget whether he's anti-vaxxer or not. He has been acting since he was 12, he says. And these last 2 years would have had taken a massive toll on anybody in that industry, regardless of their mental health or not.
Yeah, and we've all, to one extent or another, some much more than others. I can't imagine being a healthcare worker in this day and age, where people just don't care and are extremely selfish. Even everybody has gone through something when it comes to having to deal. Some people were stuck at home for a long period of time. Some people, like me, kept having to work and kept having to go and kept wondering, is this the day that I bring home COVID to my wife and my father-in-law? Which, is still a concern with me. And, I will say this. If it turns out that this is just because he didn't want to get vaccinated, I am going to go, really? Because if you're going to use the mental health card on that's it's not cool.
No.
But I'm just going to assume at this point...
take him at his word.
I'm just going to take him at his word until evidence... it's not like, what's her name from the Black Panther films that was very anti-vax, and it was really causing some problems there. I just think that, there are people who are child actors that have terrible adult lives simply because of being a child actor and everything that entails. Because it's not... When you're an adult, it's hard enough because that business is very trying. It's very taxing on you emotionally and physically. Imagine that you're not fully capable of understanding everything and going through that business.
Yeah, it'd be very tough.
So if he decides, I'm going to go off and I'm just going to do something else, then more power to him.
Yeah, exactly. So looking at the role of Jonathan Kent, they're going to recast, Warner Brothers has said, which might set back the filming. We thought September they were going to be starting filming, and he did miss the deadline that staff needed to, and cast and crew needed to come back on set, and then he informed them that he wasn't coming back at all. So with them now having to recast the role of Jonathan Kent, is it important that they get someone who looks similar? Do they come up with some kind of a storyline where they say, something's happened to him, that, magic, Fortress of Solitude technology, how do they, or they just gloss over it and tell everyone this is Jonathan?
Don't do anything.
Don't do anything, okay.
It's kind of like a friend of mine has a thing that when we were talking about cross-company crossovers, like when Marvel and DC characters get together, it's always better to just not mention, not come up with some kind of, well, I've traveled through this portal and now I'm in another dimension and blah 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 blah. Now it's just in this story they've existed together all the time. I feel the same way about Jonathan. Just don't even mention it.
Just do it
like nothing's happened.
It happened in Superman. Lois and Clark, where they recast the role of Jimmy Olsen after season 1, and they just rolled with it. They did the same thing with Lois's mother.
Yeah, Phyllis Coates originally played her mother, and then they had the other actress whose name escapes me.
Yeah,
and with her father too.
Yeah, same thing.
Because her father was played by one actor in season 1, and then was a creepy cyborg guy building a love doll. That show got really strange in the 3rd season. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, so I will wait and see who they do cast. People in the comments coming up with some ideas. Mind the Gap saying use Red K. And just make him say he looks like Jordan, and have that same actor double up on 2 different roles. I don't think so. And then you got what about the guy that was cast as young Clark Kent in Man of Steel to play Jordan, or is he too old now? I don't think you want to. He'd be old.
Yeah, he was like 15, so he'd be like in his mid-20s.
25 by now. Yeah. So I don't think you want to necessarily get anybody from a previous version of Superman at all, because you're just convoluting the whole thing again. Just get another guy, another young actor who's ready to go, who's happy to jump in and play the role, and we'll live with it.
I feel bad for that kid too, because he's walking into a show that these people have been together for 2 years under pretty extraordinary circumstances, filming wise. So that's going to be tough. I mean, it was just like Erica, what's her name? Not Erica Durance. Cassidy Friedman was talking about that on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast. You know, how she walked into Smallville on season 8.
And they've had 8 years with each other already. Yeah, so that's a tough one. But if you're going to come into any show, a Superman show about a family who sticks together, is probably a good one. I'm sure they'll embrace whoever it is with open arms and make them feel welcome from day one. So it'll be interesting to see. Waiting for that announcement. And as soon as we know who they cast as Jonathan Kent, we will let you know. And I'm sure it'll be big news, and everyone will be talking about it. Yep. All right, as far as Superman and Lois is concerned, you can now pre-order the second season on Blu-ray and DVD. It is out it'll be released September 27th, but you can get the Blu-ray and DVDs from now on the links on our website. Simply head to supermanhomepage.com and you will see the news announcement about the second season being available to pre-order now. So get in there and get your complete second season of Superman and Lois for its release on September 27th. All right, so we are about to take a quick break at the halfway mark of tonight's show. Then we're going to come back and do the This Week in History, the fan favorite segment, talk about comic books, what's coming out in November, what's coming out this week. We'll be back right after all these messages. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program. Just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/supermanhomepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Balmer, the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Just try one. If you don't like it, it's easy to give up.
Uh-oh, nicotine. I'd better move fast. Up and away!
Go on, kid, go on.
Superman, is it hard to give up smoking, or is it easy like nicotine says?
You no-good windbag, nicotine.
No, Superman. Leave me one. Please, I need one. Just...
That's how hard it is. That's why I never say yes to a cigarette.
And we're back on Superman Homepage Live, where we're going to get into the fan favourite segment of our show. All right, Michael, what was our fan favourite question from last week?
What is your favorite version of the Toyman? And JP Rocha wrote in and said, my favorite version of Toyman would have been the one in the 90s comics, and largely because of this cover. Jurgens!
Oops, turn that off. Yes, I didn't get the cover, but is that the version of the Toyman from that era?
No.
No.
That Toyman shaved his head and wore like a cloak.
So I'm
probably
thinking
the cover he's thinking of is the one of Superman holding Adam Grant.
This one right here.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, when when Jurgens decided, and I don't fault him for this, that Superman had enough enemies that were just dudes in business suits. So he kind of gave him somebody to deal with. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, big time. So thank you to Jesse. Was that Jesse? Who gave us that one? JP Rocha. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my notes in order here. Next up, we had Alexander, who wrote in saying, my version of Toyman from Superman the Animated Series, because 1, I find it excellent. 2, I feel Toyman has not been relevant nor very dangerous in the comics. Most of the time, he looks like a joke, in my opinion, except in Lex Luthor Man of Steel. I admit that the animated series version is a bit too Batman-ish, though. Is there a definitive version of the character we would all agree with? Probably not. This is the internet after all.
No, you had like that creepy one that was killed in, Superman Doomsday. You had the second Toyman that looked like a marionette from the Super Friends. That in the comics, by the way, did pop up and was eventually killed by the original Toyman. And you had the post-crisis Toyman. You had the Japanese Toyman, who kind of became a hero. And then Jeff Johns said, all of the Toyman you've ever seen are just robots created by the original Toyman that could fool Superman. Yeah, there has never been a definitive version of this character.
No, that's for sure. But thank you to those two guys for responding. I know your favourite version is the Toyman from the animated series, Michael. You kind of alluded to that last week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember watching that first episode going, damn, that's creepy. That was a really great way of playing that character. As the Timverse tended to do, is just taking a character that you're familiar with in the comics and kind of redefining it in a new way that makes it relevant for the time period. So, and that smile is just good.
Yeah. Kenneth in the comments says, my favourite version of Toyman are comics and in live action in the Smallville and Supergirl CW TV series, especially in Season 1, and in animation in Superman the Animated Series, where Mind the Gap says, I like Toyman from Superman the Animated Series, but also Challenge of the Super Friends Toyman.
With that high-pitched, squeaky voice.
Yeah, with that maniacal laugh.
Yeah, so...
funnily enough, Mark Lax, who writes and is part of our show, probably will come on later on tonight, has just reviewed the Toyman episode 4, Superman the Animated Series, for our website. It will go up on the site tomorrow morning. So I think it's called Obsession, the Season 3 episode, where he has the giant or life-size model as a companion for himself, which ended up being one of Lana Lang's high top models, as in fashion models, and she ends up being a mechanical toy that escaped from the Toyman, and he wants her back.
Yeah, there's nothing creepy about that at all.
Not at all. Anyway, moving on. So yes, the Toyman, thank you for those guys who responded to that fan favourite question. What is our fan favourite question for this week, Michael?
This is an interesting one. What is your favorite Superman desktop wallpaper? I literally have hundreds of them on my hard drive.
Yeah.
That I've either downloaded or created over the years.
We used to have a whole gallery for people to download. I know it's still there on the website, but screen sizes have changed so much over the years that it's impossible to keep up with, or create versions for every desktop. Whether it's a laptop, I've got a huge 17-inch monitor here. It is just like different. I know they're proportionate to most, but not all of them are, and so you just you stretch them out and they don't really work.
I discovered that you could take screenshots with your iPad. So I have just gone crazy over the last like 5 years, 6 years at this point, I think. Just making wallpapers, screenshotting them, importing them over to my computer, cropping them, resizing them to 1920 by 1080. Used to do
720 was
16,
it?
16 by 900, I think it was. And then before that, it was 1074 by 760 and 800 by 600. And the older ones, when I try to put them up now on the 27-inch screen, just are all pixelated. And I'm like, you weren't built for this. Okay.
So that's the email address on the bottom of your screen right there, info@supermanhomepage.com. Send us your favorite. I know fans are out there. We're going to probably get dozens from certain people. Go, I couldn't choose between and this is my top 10 or whatever. If you can, try to pick your one favorite, and we'll make them available.
Remind me of that time in the late 90s and early 2000s when I would download desktop themes. Like crazy. You would find a website that had a lot of good ones, and you knew it was going to be a good one when it was over a meg. When it was like 1.2 megs that took so long to download.
Took forever to download it.
This is going to be a good one. This is going to have a screensaver in it. What was the dude's name? General Conquest put together those crazy good, like with the screensavers and the wallpapers and the icons. And I would spend hours changing out all the icons. I wasted so much time.
Personalizing. Oh, well, I mean, my computer's icon for its hard drive is Superman symbol, of course. And I had my backup drive is called Kelex. I've just always personalized.
I may do the same thing. I went super obscure for my current desktop that I got back in 2015. I named it Macduff. Which was the name of one of Superman's robots in the pre-crisis era.
Right, okay.
But yeah, because we're all nerds.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay.
That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. So info@supermanhomepage.com. Send us your favourite Superman wallpaper, and we'll feature them here in next week's episode. Looking forward to seeing those. All right, let's get into This Week in History, Mike. Here is your intro.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Apparently, late August was not the time for Superman comics for several decades. Because we start in 1972 this time out with Lois Lane, Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, I guess I should say.
Second, let me throw these in. I don't know why they didn't come in straight away, so I'll just throw these in quickly.
Now we're all
waiting.
in the fandom zone right now.
All right, yeah, they're all just loading, but
preview.
Yeah, getting a quick preview of what's about to come. So let me hide the back one the most and see if we can get these all sized up for you quickly. Go for it.
That's okay. We have Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 127. Sharks were a thing, apparently.
Yeah.
Is all I'm going to say. And that is a very scantily clad Lois for that era. Also, Superboy, number 191, which is not the most exciting. I mean, this isn't Jonathan Kent hanging himself.
No.
But it's the kid with the super brain in a new Legion saga. Because we're about to the era where it's going to be Superman and the Legion, Superboy, and the Legion of Superheroes. Then we go to 1982 with Action Comics number 537. This is still the time period where they were doing this storyline where Superman was split in two. And this one also has a free preview in the middle of it for Masters of the Universe. Back when He-Man was just starting to get out there. All-Star Squadron number 15 is part of the Crisis on Earth Prime, and you see Ultraman knocking the 7 bells out of Superman on the cover of All-Star Squadron number 15. The New Adventures of Superboy number 35 came out that same week with another Gil Kane cover, oddly enough. And finally, we had World's Finest Comics number 285 with a Frank Miller Superman and Batman cover. I am really interested to see if that's one of the good World's Finest from this time period, because that title went really up and down around that time. In 1992, we have Adventures of Superman number 495, where Superman meets up with the Forever People, and they basically kind of retell from a post-crisis perspective the events of Forever People number 1 from the early 70s. In 2002, we have Superman, the Man of Steel, number 129, just a couple issues away from that title leaving us. We're still in the black background Superman S. This was a really weird time period where they had a lot of like one-shot fill-in stories. But I think very soon we're going to be up against ending battle. And then finally, for the comics in 2012, we have Superman number 12 with a Dan Jurgens cover. Not the best, but it's nothing to do with any of the creators. I think they were just, playing with the hand they were dealt. Though I think what this cover proves is that Dan Jurgens can handle Superman in any time period.
For sure.
He really can. In the real world, only one thing from August 24th, 1993, Superman number 82 came out. The end of Reign of the Supermen. That is the deluxe cover. That was all chromey because 90s. You also had a secondary cover, which is good, but I think that one's definitely the better one. I got this like a week or so after that.
Okay.
I remember it was Labor Day weekend. I was hanging out with some friends, and my senior year was going to be starting soon. And I was just really cool. I was just really glad Superman was back in his costume, and everything's going to be great. He's got long hair. We got a Superman TV series coming up. It's going to be fantastic. And it was. And that's This Week in History.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Sorry about not having the graphics lined up correctly, folks. That's one of those things that happens from time to time when we're doing a live show. Now, speaking of returning from the dead, before he does that, Superman's Death of Superman anniversary special is coming out, and we've got to first look at a character called Doombreaker. Here is a look at Doombreaker. He's got 4 arms. That's what I first noticed. And he's huge. And people are going, Doomsday doesn't have 4 arms. It's not Doomsday, people. It's Doombreaker. He is somehow connected, related to Doomsday, a new villain that John and Clark will need to team up to fight when we look at this special anniversary edition for the 30th anniversary of Superman, the Death of Superman, which will be released in November. This villain, Doombreaker, is a variant cover by artist Rafael Sarmento. Creature who is similar has similar features to Doomsday, but he'll be the focus of a story titled The Life of Superman by Dan Jurgens, Brett Breeding, Brad Anderson, and John Workman. The synopsis reads, a young John Kent finds out in school that his dad had died years earlier, as his parents never told him about that fateful day. In the midst of dealing with this emotional news, John and Clark need to team up to fight a new villain connected to Doomsday called Doombreaker.
He's a heartbreaker, a doombreaker. Don't mess around with me.
Cool cover.
Yeah. No, how do you make Doomsday scarier? You give him, you
more arms.
Rename him and have 4 arms instead of 2. I'm really looking. I did not see the solicitation for that in the things that you posted, though. That's the weird part.
Yeah, on the Death of Superman anniversary special, you mean?
I didn't see it. I saw the Superman number 75, or did I confuse that?
No, well, maybe it wasn't in the solicitations, but it's solicited for the 8th of November. So the anniversary special, unless it has been delayed, but I don't think so because they've been planning this for a long time.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's okay. He also had a couple other solicitations that we'll get into, but no, you're absolutely right. It's a beautiful cover.
Yeah, and well, speaking of November's solicitations, let's bring in our friend Mark Lax, who He's been waiting patiently to talk to us tonight. Hello, Mark.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing well, and yourself?
I'm okay.
That's
doing
good.
All right.
How's your mother?
She's doing better.
That's good.
She
Glad
is,
to hear
thank
it.
you. She's
Excellent.
doing better, thank you.
Glad to hear it. What did you make of Doombreaker?
Doombreaker. Looks good. Looks
Yeah.
kind of scary, Who
Who
knows?
knows?
He's related. He's related to
I think he's a second cousin on his mother's side.
So, yeah, that's what I thought. Once removed or something.
Once removed, that's it. Or 4 times removed with 4 arms.
Yeah.
But,
no, it looks good.
We'll wait and see. But
Curious.
other solicitations that came out in November's DC solicitations. I think we've previously mentioned Superman Kal-El Returns Special Number 1, which will be released on the 29th of November, so later on in the month. We've also got Action Comics 1049 with a really cool new kind of design on the Fortress of Solitude with the whole super family there. You've got Superman, Supergirl, it looks like Natasha Irons, then you've got John Henry Irons as Steel. It looks like, well, I'm guessing it's John Kent, but it actually kind of looks a bit like, what's his name, Val Zod? Kind of.
Kinda.
The cape's not
down there,
well. The cape's not red.
I wonder if that's a shadow.
Everybody else's is red.
What's his name? Kenan Kong.
Kenan Kong, yeah, it could be. Yeah, the Chinese Superman.
Chinese, because I know he's involved in the story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that could be him. That makes more sense. And then you've got Crypto, obviously underneath. So yeah, that could be Kenan Kong. So that's the that's the Action Comics solicitation, the cover, which reads, we're only 1 month away from the Mammoth Action Comics 1050, and tensions between the Super Family and Lex Luthor have never been higher. Meanwhile, in the Fortress of Solitude, Steel, Supergirl, and Kong Kenan repel an alien invasion. So there you go. Answered our own question. And then Superman, Son of Kal-El's got this really cool cover of the Kents on the farm. And this one reads, Superman and Son are reunited, so why doesn't it feel so good? Could it be because of the LexCorp automatons threatening the safety of Metropolis? I've got a bad feeling about this. What, is Indiana Jones going to show up?
Yeah, I just love seeing the Kents, who are still in hiding. Because somebody exposed his identity.
Oh, God.
Well done.
Oh, man. That was one of the main things that I was like, are you kidding me? Really? He
still hold
exposed his
that
identity, and then they bring him back, and they're living under a bubble, and they're fine with that, I mean, I know they've been through a lot with their son, but they're fine with living under a bubble, It's like,
I'm
oh,
still
congratulations,
saying
son.
that was an afterthought. They did not when Bendis revealed the identity. The Kents were not a factor, and then Doomsday Clock comes out.
Yeah.
They're like, oh crap, we've got to explain this now.
Now so they gotta, they had to go back and whatever. I guess I don't know.
Still
really, a bad decision.
Yes, very bad. Still some interesting solicitations that are outside the world of Superman's regular comic books, where Superman will be showing up. Obviously, you got Dark Crisis and all those kind of deceased and those kinds of things. But you got Nubia and the Justice League #1 with Superman on the cover of that one. Wonder Woman 793, the Trinity reunited with Superman's recent return from Warworld. He, Batman, and Wonder Woman have been called to the Justice League's abandoned watchtower to save their planet from an Imperium invasion. You've got the Superman 75 special edition that you mentioned, Michael, re-soliciting that one. What else have we got? There's also Monkey Prince #9. You got the Monkey Prince sitting on top of the Daily Planet globe in that cover. Welcome to Metropolis, where crime is at an all-time low thanks to it being under the watchful eye of Superman, aka the perfect place for 2 henchpeople scientists, aka Monkey Prince's parents, to find their next henchpeople gig at, right? Nope. They're actually there to visit Grandpa, aka Ultra Humanite. Wow. The Ultra Humanite is their grandfather? Okay.
I don't even know who Monkey
Probably
Prince
the
is.
original
I've seen his
body,
name.
I would assume, not the 8th body.
Okay. whatever. So yeah, some interesting ones there. So yeah, check out all the solicitations for November at our website for all the Superman related stuff coming out.
And what's this book? I haven't read Batman Fortress. That has something to do with the Fortress of Solitude, and I'm just thinking it's a Superman book starring Batman. I mean, it makes sense, but even so, I haven't read it. I'm just, I look at solicitations and I'm like, I don't get it. What is this book about?
Okay,
like,
so
Luthor's in it, and
Batman Fortress #1 came out on May 24th, so it's already been out. When an unknown alien ship enters Earth's atmosphere, disrupting global power and communications and plunging the planet into chaos, the world is left wondering, where is Superman when he's needed most? In the mysterious absence of the last son of Krypton, Batman must rally the rest of the Justice League to counter the alien threat, but first he must quell a crime wave on the blacked out streets of Gotham. Kind of skipped under the radar, that one. Yeah, didn't know much about that one. I mean, there's so many Batman titles, I kind of just gloss over them and go, okay.
Yeah, it's like,
Batman.
you see Batman, it's like, okay, then another one, I just
moving on. Yeah, exactly. Well, so that's the solicitations for November. As I said, you can check them out in full. But as for what is available this week for Superman fans, there's a couple of really interesting ones. Action Comics 1046. You've got a very skinny looking Steel on the cover there, doing something with a bit of kryptonite by the looks of things. I saw someone saying, isn't kryptonite lethal to humans on this version of Earth? But I think it's after a lot of exposure. You have to have had it for a while. And I'm sure Steel is taking precautions, even though he's holding it with his bare hands. I'm sure he's got some technology there. There's a swimsuit variant cover at Action Comics 1046. Yeah, Superman either Superman or John Kent in the background also posing. If you hadn't just not been able to focus on Supergirl alone, there is somebody else on the cover.
I didn't see him.
Yeah. There's also this variant cover which makes up the background of my green screen tonight's episode, which is a really cool variant cover and makes up part of the background on our website at the moment as well. Also this week we got DC Mech #2, the second of the 6-issue miniseries, which has a couple of variant covers, including this one on Superman's mech suit, and there's a couple of other variant covers right there. Also available this week, Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes #5 of 6 is out this week, and that is also available in that variant cover right there. And then on the digital front, the limited series Young Justice Targets, the second issue is available for digital download this week, and that's also available in this variant cover. And all these comic books will be reviewed on our website tomorrow, so you should be able to check those out tomorrow about 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. There's also the collected edition Volume 2 Justice League, the New 52 Omnibus, as a hardcover. Of course there is. That's available this week as well, as of from tomorrow. That's what you can look forward to for comic book fans reading Superman comic books this week. Action Comics is a big one.
Yeah, the Action Comics one that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's real good.
And if you're big into comic book artists and writers, there's a couple of them attending conventions this weekend across the globe. There's Rags Morales will be a special guest at Silicon in San Jose, California, across the August 27th to August 28th. Brett Breeding will be attending WV Pop Culture Con, which is the West Virginia Pop Culture and Comic Book Convention in Morgantown, West Virginia, again this weekend, August 27th to 28th. And in Canberra, here in Australia, Superman Son of Kal-El writer Tom Taylor will be a special guest at Oz Comic Con 2022, again August 27th to August 28th. And if you don't know what they look like, of course, we don't get a lot of look. There's Rags, who you might recognise some of his artwork from some early editions of Action Comics. There's Brett Breeding, and there's Tom Taylor, who we've had as a guest on our show previously. So go out and check out those conventions if you're in those areas. You've met Brett Breeding, haven't you, Mike?
Nope, I have not.
Oh, no.
I have met, face-to-face, I've met precious few of them. I'll be meeting one of the era's artists
I didn't get that.
A little over a week.
Thanks, Siri.
But Tom Taylor always looks dashing in that hat. That man definitely has a style, and it works for him.
Yeah, he does. He does, very much so. Mark, anything else you wanted to chat with us tonight about before we let you go?
No, that's about it. Just want to check in, talk some comics. And,
yeah.
Oh, well, maybe Jordan.
Yeah, Elsass, yeah.
You know, and I wish the kid well. I don't know. I don't know the circumstances. Who knows? But I wish him well. I hope everything works out for him. And we'll get a new Jonathan, and he'll hopefully do a good job too. So.
Yep. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you calling in once again.
Right.
Take care,
All
buddy.
right, guys. Take care.
Talk to you
All
soon.
right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you to Mark. So that was cool to chat with him again. Warner Brothers Games announced this week that Multiverses has surpassed 20 million players already.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, sadly I don't have one of the consoles that it's available on. I know it's available for PC, but I'm on an Apple computer, so I don't have I don't have a PS4 or 5, and I don't have an Xbox Series or Xbox One console, so I can't play Multiverses. But I know a lot of the Superman homepage staff members got onto the open beta and were really impressed with it and love it. And it's doing gangbusters with 20 million players already, and it's only just Season 1's only just launched, so well done. Excellent news. Get out and play it. I did a video this past week of playing a Superman game from the Sega Master System. I don't think it was ever released in North America, but it was 1993 was the Superman Man of Steel.
That got released over here.
There was
a Sega Superman game.
I know there was one, but I think this one might not have been, because there were two different ones. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so I did a video of that. I tragically didn't do very well, but it seemed to get a bit of interest, so that was really cool. There's also this really cool XM statue was announced this week. It's available. It's available in a lot of different sizes. It's in a 1/4 scale and a 1/6 scale, and there's one that's available that has Superman with a parademon above his head. Just going to go. It's a classic Superman statue. It's got a very detailed base, very cool costume. There's the alternative version where he's pulled apart this parademon and he's raising it above his head. There's one with the red eyes of anger, and yeah, they've also released a pretty cool little video about this, which quickly play it for you. Here is this statue. So there you go. It's pretty impressive. You can check out the links to order that via our website if it tickles your fancy. But that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live tonight with us. Appreciate you joining us for this past hour. Thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And thank you to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Thank you, Mike.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
And don't forget, Michael and I will be back next week on Monday, August 29th for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We'll be doing our big question next week. It's the last episode for the month, so make sure you tune in then, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.